Everybody, back with a brand new Cabral Concept, our Mindset and Motivation Monday, how to rebuild your life in 30 days or less. I'm going to give you an actual system, not one specific thing to do, but a system that you can continue to use over and over for replicable results. That means you can plug in whatever goal it is you have at any time in your life, follow the system to get better results. That's really what it's all about, because I truly believe that you can achieve anything you set your mind to if you follow through with the right plan, but also the systems to make it happen. Because the systems also then, you don't need as much motivation. You don't need as much inspiration on a daily basis. You can follow the system. And then you can use discipline to implement the systems, which ultimately get you exactly where you want to be in life. That's the nice thing, is that we can really set the blueprint for anything that we look to achieve because it's already out there. And then our job is just to follow the blueprint. It honestly is. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Not everything has to be reinventing the wheel. It's literally, okay, this is what I want to achieve. This is the blueprint for achieving that because these people have come before me and already done it. I might put my little twist on it, but only after I become somewhat successful. Because remember, if you're not already successful, follow someone else's plan that has already been successful. Now, the last part I'll say before I dive right into this plan is that be careful you don't fall for a lot of people's plans online that haven't been successful before. They say they're successful in health or wealth or relationships, body transformation, whatever it might be, but they're not actually successful. They've never been successful there, but you can basically say anything you want online, right? So be careful about that. Follow someone with a proven template and you will absolutely achieve any of those goals. Let's dive into what that plan looks like right now. So I love, again, I don't use social media a lot, but I'm on there for probably 20 minutes a day, maybe 15 minutes. But what I like to do is I like to look at what are people saying, what's going on in the world, and I follow some, great accounts. This is not an account, I don't know. So sometimes the thing is the algorithm just knows what you're looking for. And this actually was a great post called by Goal Dose. Okay, there's no name for the boss. It's just by Goal Dose. I always like to give credit where credit's due. I'm going to put my own twist on it for our community. Theirs was probably more wealth building. I want to do ours more about health and life rewiring, getting the maximum amount of your potential, your health, your happiness out of life. The very first part starts with this, though, is that you don't always need more motivation. You need more of a plan. You need more of a blueprint. You don't always need to even believe more in yourself because truthfully, when you're first starting out, you don't really need to believe in yourself because you haven't been there before. You haven't done it before. You need to believe in the blueprint. You need to believe in your coach, your doctor, your IHP, whoever it might be. That's what you need to believe in. And then when you're the one actually doing it, you just follow that blueprint. You believe in the blueprint because it's already been done before. And so what I want you to do is if you just stay focused on the actions, then in 30 days, your life will look completely and radically different than it did before. So the first one is this. It's that you need to delete distractions in your life. Why does this matter? It's because we all get consumed by everything else and everybody else's life around us. So it doesn't mean that you can't still be a good husband or wife or brother or sister or son or daughter or whatever it might be, right? Like you still do that, you still live your life, but you have to reduce any distractions you can reduce. People are always asking you, hey, can you, go to this game? All these birthday parties come up. I've got this after work activities. For 30 days, you're going to have to say no. And you might say, well, I don't feel comfortable with saying no, but I get it. But you have to just choose what it is that you really want out of life, right? So if you're always saying yes to everything else, you simply don't have any time. And this comes down to getting back some of your time. So if you say yes to everything and you have no time, how do you implement the actions that you need to that will ultimately make you more successful? I'm going to give you a couple tips in a moment. But the first one I always give is this, is you need to wake up earlier. Now, that doesn't mean deprive yourself of sleep, but it does mean that you wake up, call it an hour before you need to do your typical morning routine, like getting ready for work, whatever it might be. So I like to look at it like this. I've done this for years. No matter what time I needed to wake up, although I will say there's a caveat to this because in the early 2000s, when I was like my first client appointment was at 4:30 a.m., I wasn't waking up at 2:33. I'll tell you that because that is just next level exhausting, right? Because you can only go to bed so early, right? So I can't go back 8 hours from 3 in the morning, which would be I don't even know what time of night, 7 at night. It's not possible, right? I can't do that. It's because I have a wife. I've got all sorts of different obligations, family, kids. Like it just doesn't work like that. But you can come up with something realistic, right? So like most people can go to bed by 9 or 10 o'clock, usually somewhere around there if you start to plan the first part of your day earlier, right? And you get things done throughout the day. But let's just start with the morning for a moment. Most people need to wake up somewhere between 5 and 6:30 a.m. So somewhere in that time frame for them to get back 60 minutes of their day. If you can only get back 30 minutes in the beginning, no problem. That's 30 minutes that you can now dedicate to your actions that you need to take. Forget about the goal for a moment. The goal should have an action plan. It's dedicated to the actions. I've shared this before. So if your goal ultimately is losing 30 pounds, okay, well, what do we need to do? Like the two fundamentals are we need to dial in our nutrition and we need to dial in our movement. And nutrition is even more important than movement in the short term. In the long term, as important is definitely exercise. But in the short term, it's definitely nutrition, right? So what do we need to do? If we only have 30 minutes, well, we might just meal prep for the day. That's it. If you can't meal prep the night before, you might meal prep that morning. Okay. What I'd rather have you do is meal prep the night before, and then your exercises the next morning. Right? And so it's like, okay, good. We got 30 minutes exercise. And then when you're already cleaning up for dinner or cooking dinner, meal prep that next day. But that's just like, that's a simple example. It's only one thing, but now you're guaranteed 30 minutes because you literally woke up 30 minutes early to do only one thing. It's to stay focused on whatever that goal is. So in this case, let's say it's exercise. If your goal is to transition out of your current job, maybe become a certified health coach like an IHP. Okay, well, what do we need to do? We wake up 30 minutes and what do? We don't need to do anything else except sit down on the phone or laptop and one window open, that's it. Study your material for 30 minutes a day. What do? After 12 weeks, you're a certified health coach. Amazing, right? So that's level 1. Then you might move on to level 2, learn how to read your own labs. That's another 12 weeks. So in 6 months, you're done with that 30 minutes per day, but you need to stay focused in because you can't expect the 30 minutes to just pop up some other time of the day. So you wake up early when nobody else is up. Right? So that's the way to do it. Some people like to stay up late. I don't think that you should be engaging your mind during a natural non-circadian rhythm, but honestly, there's a time and place for everything in your life. I've had to work many a late night and it's just the way that it is, right? To get ahead. I totally understand, but don't have it be a permanent part of your schedule, which could really throw off your sleep and your health. Okay. Another part is you want to really begin to remove your screen time. So that means that anything non-work related, anything that you don't need to do, if it's social media, you're taking a break, not forever, but for 30 days. If it is, you're part of group chats, messaging, whatever it might be, you're gone. You're literally gone for 30 days. That is your goal. Because once you build that 30-day habit, it's going to continue to flow. You're not going to want to take away from that. So for 30 days, we need to eliminate that. And that's how you find the extra hour, 2 hours a day. Believe it or not, most people, if you look at your screen time use, just outside of work, it's probably between an hour and 2 hours a day for the minimum. Many people are at 3 to 6 hours. Just cut back, just get a couple hours back. If you get a couple hours back, you won't even know what to do with that time. Like you'll be able to schedule so much more to move faster forward. Like that's ultimately the goal, right? So if the goal is to say, okay, yeah, I really want to drop that 30 pounds. Okay, well now we're getting in our 10,000 steps per day. We're getting in our 30-minute resistance training or cardio-based workout alternating days. We're getting in our meal prep. We're dialing in the nutrition. We're staying focused on exactly what our main goal is. Switching jobs? Okay. Now instead of 30 minutes a day, we're doing 1 hour a day. Plus on the back end, we're also setting up a social media account. We're starting to maybe post a little bit about what we're learning along the journey, sharing it with others. That's what social media at its best is really all about. So that's really part 1. Part 2 is that you want to stay locked in on what you need to do, right? So it's like you set yourself up with a time now, you've eliminated the distractions. Amazing. So now how many minutes or hours can we get back? Honestly, in the beginning, I don't care if it's 20 minutes, but you have to get back a usable amount of time. So you sit down and you do whatever it is that you need to do, or stand up and exercise, whatever it is that you need to do. And that is your action plan. How many hours per day reasonably can you get, but it has to be scheduled. It always goes back to what I talk about, not the to-do list, but the schedule. And the nice thing is this, I share with my team, if it doesn't fit on the schedule, you can't do it. It's just wishful thinking. So I can't do things that won't fit on my schedule. I want to do them, but if they're not on there, It can't happen. And the same goes, like, I've got family time on there. That's my family time. So if you're asking me to record projects or do whatever it might be, listen, I want to do that as well. But then my family doesn't have that time. My family, to me, is always number one. And so it's okay. I put number one first and then I work backwards. That's ultimately how it always is. And then I just make sure I'm maximizing my time. But I have on there, it's a 20-minute time block. That's my social media. Now you might say, well, that's a little bit too disciplined. I totally understand. It's not that I can't, hop on social media if I wanted to for a minute during my lunch or after the day is done. I can, but not during the day of when I'm trying to accomplish other things. For example, right now, I'm trying to write my next book or finish my next book. It's in editing. So if I allow myself to go on social media, then I don't get to edit the book. So it's like, which one do you want to choose? So it's scheduled right now. This is book editing. I can't do it all day long, but I have hour to 90-minute blocks in my schedule. So what I'm saying to you is you need to block in your schedule your times to move forward towards your goals and set really clear targets. So that's one of the things is when I talk about people reading a book, what do you want to do? Don't just say, I'm going to read today. No, I'm going to read 10 pages per day. Talk about that all the time. I'm a huge advocate of reading. If you like audiobooks, that's great too, but you want to get something out of it. You want to be able to outline. You want to be able to take notes. You want to be able to do all the things. Use it as a tool of reference guides. So if you do 10 pages a day, that's about 30 minutes of reading a day. Okay, so now you schedule a 30-minute time block wherever you want your schedule. I have mine, and that equals 10 pages. Even for a slow reader, that's 30 minutes. That's 3 minutes per page, and that's 30 minutes, and that's 10 pages, right? Okay, great. Why do I say 10 pages? Because most books are around 300 pages. That means on an average month, you've now read a book. And again, you might say to yourself, well, I want to read 4 books a month. Okay, start with 1. If you've read 0 to 1 books in the last year, start with 1 book a month. That'll be 12. You just 12x'd, right, what you did last year. Aim for 1 book a month and 1 book that you can implement as part of your goal, right? So like pick that book based on part of your goal. If you're going back to becoming a certified health coach, okay, integrative health practitioner, you follow the implemented material for that 30 minutes, but there's also continuing education. And if you want, you could read one of those books. Great. That might be part of your 30 minutes as well, especially within your niche. If you're looking for that weight loss goal, okay, so you also can be reading on exercise guidance or a blueprint or a coach or whatever it might be to dial in your exercise program as well if you're not already working with a personal trainer. So, phase 1 is you're making the time. Phase 2 is dialing in what that plan is going to be, not vague, but crystal clear. This is what I do at this time each day. All right, the next part is that you just create non-negotiables. I have a whole podcast on this. I'll link it up today at stephencabral.com/3496, stephencabral.com/3496. So you have to remember that in the beginning, we're all excited. We're all excited to, write the next book, become a health coach, lose the weight, transform your health, find a relationship, like all the good things, right? But then after that, what do we need? Well, we need to be able to say when the motivation wanes, and I can't always get inspired daily, what's the discipline and really the discipline systems and actions that I use? Well, it goes back to creating that calendar, but also the non-negotiables. The non-negotiables are, okay, you don't have enough energy to be able to do all the things you want to do. Exercise has to be one of those things, 30 minutes a day. What are you doing? Well, in the beginning, you're just walking. After that, some body weight training and some aerobic-based cardio to actually improve your max VO2. And you start to move then to more high-intensity interval training, but not all at once. But you need to make room for keeping this machine, this organism, our body running on all cylinders, right? I talk about that in the rain barrel effect and the de-stress protocol. You need to have a clean nutrition diet. I mean, think about it. If you're running on gluten and cow's milk dairy all day long, you might be exhausted, have brain fog, and not know why. And so the goal is sustained energy all day to get through the things that you want to that make your life great. So I want to have energy in the morning for what I need an hour before my family wakes up. Then I want to have energy for my daughters are up and help them get ready for school along with my wife. And then I go right into my work and I'm doing my calls and my meetings and I want to have energy for them. And then I have my recordings during the day or my writing, whatever it might be. And then I want to exercise and then I want to shut off the day and sit down with my family at dinner and talk with them, ask how their day was, try to support them, do homework with my kids. And I want to do all these things and I need energy for all of that. And so do you. And so how do we get energy for all that? Well, it's not overly complicated, but it's that de-stress protocol: diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, that's your sleep as well, emotional balance, scientifically backed supplements, your success mindset. That all plays into it. That's the de-stress protocol that I wrote about. And so when you look at that, you say, oh, well, there's stress reduction, yes, but also you're able to handle more stress because your nutrition's dialed in, your exercise is dialed in, and you're not overdoing things for your body and you're not underdoing it, right? And so you're finding balance within your body. That to me is what enables you to have good days and bad days, but always continue to march forward. All right, next part is this. And I believe, yeah, it's our last part. So what I want you to think about is this, is that it's only 30 days, but we need to stay focused for all 30 days. And the reason is we are rewiring your, not just your autonomic nervous system to what's hard, what's not hard. We're literally recalibrating what you consider a day's work. Now, it's not just for the work that you get paid for in your career and your job or whatever it might be, right? Or being the best parent that you can be, staying at home with your kids, amazing. But it's also, what can you do outside of that? I'm going to be talking about that on an IHP podcast soon. It's like, okay, this is your 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or 9 to 6, like however you look at it. Okay, well, what's before 9? I have a great podcast, I think, on the missing 6 hours per day. It's like, what are you doing during those 6 hours, right? Like there's time in there. And so what I want you to think about is, what am I doing before work? What am I thinking about my lunch break? What am I doing after work? Could any of it be optimized? Could I get back 1 hour a day only for myself? If not, can I get back 30 minutes? If you can't get back 30 minutes, we need to totally look at what is going on in your life, in your time management. But the nice thing is this, is that we're only focused on this not forever, but for 30 days. After 30 days, shut off the experiment if you want. I don't think that you will want to, but you can shut it off. And that's really the whole thing, is that this is your life. But in order to live your life how you want to, you need to take back control of it. These 30 days allow you to say, okay, that's my coach, that's my person, that's the person I'm following, here's their plan, I'm shutting out distractions, I'm scheduling it, I am dialed in, and you know what, no matter how I feel, I'm following it for 30 days. And then we'll assess at the end of 30 days. But I'll tell you this, at the end of 30 days, you're going to be sharper, you're going to be more calloused, not in a bad way, but it's like exercise. You have callus on your hands from lifting. It just means that your hands aren't going to get as beat up in the future when you do go to lift and pick up weights, etc., because you become more calloused. This way in the future, like if you take away the hour or 2 hours of extra things you've been doing, not extraneous, but extra, moving your life forward, you're going to say, wow, today was a really light day, but it's the same amount of work that you always used to do. But now you've recalibrated, you're reframing how you look at your average day. Your average day is the same day, same amount of hours, but you're getting far more out of it. And people are going to notice. They're going to notice that you don't engage in worthless arguments and negativity and gossip and all these things. You know why? Because that distracts you from what really matters. I'll tell you right now, it's like I can see sometimes people online, they try to bait you into things and arguments and conversations and just to, play devil's advocate. I totally get it. I personally participate in none of it. And I believe that you shouldn't either. There's no need to. Why argue with someone online that you've never met? You don't know them. They don't know you. You don't know each other's life history. Just agree to disagree. Move on. Speak your piece, what you truly believe, what you feel will serve others, and move on. That's it. You know why? Because you're so focused on moving your life forward. Now, remember, these aren't selfish things. When you talk about the things that you do in your life, oftentimes it's for the benefit of other people. Okay, like you lose 30 pounds, it seems like it's very self-centered, but truthfully, it's not. You're going to be healthier, you're going to be alive longer, and you're most likely going to have more energy for your family and everyone that you come in contact with. Okay, you're becoming a certified health coach, integrative health practitioner. Amazing. Well, guess what? You're going to help anywhere from 100 people a year to maybe 1,000 plus people a year, and all of those people have families, and you're going to help them improve their overall health. Like, these are things you are benefiting from, and you should, right? Who's to say you shouldn't benefit? But also, you are benefiting the lives of everyone around you as well. That is the truth. So the goal is always to better yourself, increase the size of your cup so you have more to pour out. I'm a big believer in that. And remember, don't just dream, but begin to execute. All right, the last part is this, is that we need a central frame of reference. It seems like a lot to do. You're just going to wake up a little bit earlier. That's it. You're going to go to bed a little bit earlier. You're going to wake up a little bit earlier. I've said it before. I don't like going to bed at 9:30 at night. You know why I do it? Because I want to be up by 5:30. So like that's the thing. So if you want to get up at 5:30 and you're still going to bed at 11:30, you're only getting 6 hours of sleep. Sure, maybe you could do that for a certain period of time, but eventually it's probably not sustainable. So try to do something now that is sustainable. Okay, I can go to bed by 9:30, I can wake up at 5:30, that's sustainable for me. Great, so I get 8 hours of really rock solid sleep. And I can get another hour of sleep on the weekends if I want to sleep till 6:30. Amazing, right? So like, okay, I've got that dialed in. My nutrition for my breakfast, my lunch is almost always the same. Same for my peri-workout or my pre-workout, whatever you want to call it, smoothie. It's already dialed in. The only thing that's really changing is dinner that my wife is gracious enough. She cooks every night. She cooks a great meal. Okay, that's dialed in. If you can't do that, then you will order something healthy or you'll, make a simple recipe, all of those different things. Okay, so now that's dialed in. I know my exercise time every day and I know my family time every day. And if you're a spiritual practice, you're going to dial that in. But now there's going to say, okay, well, now I still have this amount of time. And I woke up a half hour earlier, which I never used to do. So that is the time now that you're going to add to whatever it is. You can always expand that time in the future, but you have to schedule that time now. And then you say, okay, if I have 30 minutes or I have 1 hour, this is the amount of work that I can get done in that period of time. And I know work doesn't necessarily mean work I'm getting paid for, but work that I'm doing on me. That will affect my life and hopefully pour out into others all around me. So hopefully today's show was helpful. This is truly how to rebuild your life within 30 days. It is the starting point, the stepping stone to great things to come. If this show was helpful, as always, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Have an amazing day, everyone. I'll talk with you tomorrow on the Cabral Concept. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.